Hey guys, the Common Man here. So I've got something kind of fun today. Hopefully you all are interested in this. This is something that I kind of wanted to do. So as you know, I've been kind of going back to some of those older pocket knife designs, just trying to see how they compare to modern folders. And as you know, so far I've looked at the Swiss Army knives. This is the Climber, by the way, and I did end up picking one up. And this actually has been my everyday carry. I've been putting this in my pocket alongside a modern folder. And I've been really, really happy with these things. I've also got the DLT exclusive one that I keep in my gym bag, but this has been my in the pocket folder, and it's been a lot of fun. And it's really surprised me how good it actually is, because like I said, I just didn't have I don't know, I didn't have the greatest memories of these being, high quality tools. But kind of along the same lines, I wanted to take a look at one of these here case knives. Now, it's kind of funny because my opinion of these are very different than I had of the Swiss Army knives when I was younger. I actually always thought these were incredibly high quality knives. When you saw a case knife, usually it was your grandpa's knife, your dad's knife, and you thought, wow, that's a sweet knife. That thing's, that's got to be worth a ton of money. And I guess later on down the road, more recently when I started collecting knives, I started kind of changing my opinion of the case knives, because I noticed, wow, those are actually kind of more on the budget end of things. And especially, once I picked up one of these guys, the Great Eastern Cutlery knives, I really wanted to scratch that traditional folder slip joint fix and or itch rather. And these things, the quality is just absolutely incredible. These Great Eastern Cutlery knives, and I've got two of these now. I've got this one, the Pony Jack, and then I also have the Sud Buster. But I decided, I wanted to go back to one of these case knives because I just wanted to see how they compare today. And again, I got that traditional folder slip joint itch, and I really wanted to scratch it with something that was maybe more affordable than one of these Great Eastern Cutlery knives, because frankly the materials really aren't all that different in the case knives, and all it seems to come down to mostly is kind of the way that they're manufactured, but then also just the fit and finish and overall build quality. So anyway, I was on, I think it was DLT's website, and I found this guy. This is going to be the Mini Trapper. I think I paid right around $50 for this, which is a steal compared to the $150 or so that these things are going for, and usually on the secondhand market, because you can hardly buy these things brand new. But I figured for $50, let's see what we get. So like I said, this is going to be the Mini Trapper, and I've had it out of the package, so I kind of got it all set back up so you guys can get kind of a general feel of how it's going to come brand new. So it comes in this very simple box with just some paperwork inside it, and then it also comes wrapped up in this just kind of piece of paper. So I like I said, I kind of put it back together just to get the feel. And so there it is, and this is a very attractive knife. My first impression was the bone looks really good. It's got this very cool kind of jigging on it, and it's like a burnt bone kind of finish. I think it looks really nice. Sorry, I'm bumping stuff over off to the side, but yeah, overall fit and finish, initially looks really good. All of the back spacers, the back springs are all finished off and leveled very nicely. Everything is actually very smooth and very flush. I think the overall machining of the tool, once it's all been assembled, is very nice, and it just overall looks good. Nothing too special as far as materials. I believe it's just the stainless steel bolsters, back spacers, maybe some I think it's brass liners, and then it does have this bone cover on both sides with the jigging, and then a simple, I think they call that a propeller shield, which looks pretty cool. But Mini Trapper, so this one's a little bit small. It's not a very big knife, and I don't know, in hindsight maybe I should have gone with the Trapper, because this thing is quite small compared to my GEC Pony Jack. It's actually about the same size, and this is a very small knife, in my opinion anyway. So we'll go ahead and open it up, and on first glance it looks pretty good. The blade finish honestly is beautiful. When I got it out of the package, that mirror polish, or at least it looks like a mirror polish, was really impressive. I mean, it's you can see a little bit of I guess machining marks in there, and then it's been just kind of polished over. But for the price, man, that's really pretty good. I'm overall very happy with the looks of it for $50. And then so I checked out this blade. I was really happy with it, and I opened up this blade, and the first thing I noticed, and I'm not sure if they all come like this, if this is normal, but look at that downward angle on that blade. I'm not sure if that's the way it's supposed to be. My understanding is this blade is supposed to, well, it's a spade blade, and it has a specific purpose. It's supposed to be able to get down into flesh, basically, and be able to make the cuts that are necessary. And I think that this downward angle is a part of the design to allow you to kind of get down into what you're working in. And it just, I don't know, it kind of threw me off, though, that downward angle. So let me know in the comments, guys, is this normal, or is this a production flaw on this knife with it being at such a downward angle? It's not flat or level with that spine. Anyway, that was just the first thing that I noticed. But really, again, the blade finish on this looks really nice. That kind of mirror polish looks excellent. I think they did a good job on that. So overall, it looks good. Like I said, the covers covers in their transition to the bolsters are good. There's really no transition there, which is impressive, especially for this price. Everything is smoothed out so well. But I have to be honest with you guys, and it's kind of sad to say it, that's sort of where the good ends with this knife. It looks great, but when it comes down to the actual function, there's some problems, some serious problems. When I first got this knife, one of the first things that I check when I get a knife is blade play. I'm not expecting this to be a rock solid lockup. I'm not expecting this to be as solid as like my Hinderers or my Spartan or anything like that. So maybe a tiny amount of blade play could be acceptable. However, this thing had tons of blade play. I'm going to show you just how much. I hope you can see how much that blade is rocking around in there. And then let's go ahead and open up that spade blade. And this one is about the same, although I will say it came with even more blade play. So just a disclaimer, I did something stupid on this knife that I do not recommend you do, because I believe Case has a very good warranty. And that's always something to keep in mind. All of the negatives that I'm going to go through with this knife, always remember, you could always contact Case and ask about the warranty, and I'm pretty sure they will pretty much just send you a new knife, obviously with an exchange. But what I did, and this was kind of a proof of concept thing, and I don't really regret it necessarily, because I learned something. What I wanted to do is see if there was any way for me to pinch these bolsters tighter to eliminate some blade play. And what I did was I wrapped this bolster here, I wrapped it in a cloth, I set it on top of a hard surface, I took a light hammer and I tapped it. And the reason I was doing that was to see if I could maybe squash that pin a little bit and squeeze these bolsters together to eliminate some of that blade play. Again, I don't recommend you do this, because just send the thing back and have Case take care of it properly. But again, for me, it was kind of like a proof of concept to see if you could do it yourself. And I will say it did actually work reasonably well. So the blade play that you see here, which is still fairly considerable, it was about 3 or 4 times this bad. I mean, this blade, if you held it out to the end here, you could move it probably 1/8 of an inch. It was a ton. And the spade blade was even worse. So blade play was just bad. It was really bad. And again, even for $50, it was really bad. Another issue that I had with this thing is, well, it's the edge. The edge is, it's not good. And to say it's not sharp isn't really even to put it correctly, because what happened was, when they sharpened it at the factory, they created such a massive burr on this thing. And I wish it's really, I don't know how to get it to show on camera, but there is such a terrible burr here. And yeah, it's on this side. That edge is, instead of being like this, like an actual point, the edge comes to a point and then tips over. So it's like the edge is shaped like this, where the edge actually cuts off to the side. So much so that I was wiping this with my finger at one point, and it sliced, not bad, but it gave me a little slice on my thumb on the side of the edge. When you do this with your fingers, you shouldn't have to worry about cutting yourself, because that edge is going right between your fingers. But this edge is curved over so bad that it actually sliced my thumb. And this was weeks ago, so I'm totally healed up. But that's how bad the burr is on this guy. And it's also to the point where this thing won't cut anything. I was trying to cut paper, and it just rolled the paper. It just kept pushing the paper, and it just wouldn't cut. And the edge was so bad that it just wouldn't cut a thing. And that goes for both blades, unfortunately. The spade blade, the burr wasn't quite as bad, but it's still present. It's so jagged. I mean, so horribly jagged. And I don't know what they use, like a 60 grit sandpaper to sharpen these things up, like a 60 grit belt or something like that. But it is the most rough edge I've ever seen on a knife. And yeah, the burr is just out of control. Another issue that I had with the edge is the tip. And I do know that this is a common problem with these case knives. There is no tip, essentially. You can see the tip is completely rounded off. Now on the spade blade, I believe that's kind of by design, because you don't want, if I remember correctly, or if I understand this correctly, you don't want an overly aggressive tip, because it could poke and cut things you don't want to cut, given the nature and the use of that knife, the original design of the knife. So I understand why there wouldn't be an aggressive, very, very fine tip on the spade blade. But this main blade here, I wish there was some effort to put that tip back on there after the tumbling process, because that's my understanding as to why there is no tip on these knives, is they throw the knives into a tumbler to get that to get everything smoothed out, and then they throw it on a grinder, and after the tumbler there's really no tip left. Everything is totally rounded off. And you can see the whole entire blade, everything is rounded off, actually quite nicely. But the tip, unfortunately, it's just not done well. And what Great Eastern Cutlery does, and I've watched their production videos, is that they actually they make a little tab on the very tip of the knife, and that tab remains on the tip through the tumbling process up until they are ready to sharpen. And then as they sharpen, they grind that tab off so that they can put a perfect tip on it. And I'll just show you for comparison. The tip on this guy is very good. It's not perfect, but it's much, much better than on the case. And it shows that that little tab that they put on there definitely does its job. So I wish Case could do something like that to put a proper tip on this thing so that it's a good functional knife. And then, of course, do something about that edge to give us a little bit better edge. Now, I will say in the $50 category, or I guess really, you pay between $50 to $100 for these things. This is very much on the low end of their knives. For that price, I can understand why they wouldn't want to put a professional edge on it, because that does cost money. It's labor. It can take some time to put a really nice edge on it. All you need is a good enough edge to cut some stuff. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then the user can certainly resharpen to their liking. But I still think that a knife, regardless of the price, it should come with an edge that's at least functional, can at least get you through whatever little EDC tasks you need, be able to cut through boxes, cut through bags, or whatever. This thing just doesn't. It really doesn't. The edge is just about useless, and that's a real bummer. Again, guys, please keep in mind the warranty is always there. You can always send it back, and they can, as far as I understand, they'll either send you a new one or fix up the one that you have. But it's just a bummer that you have to go through this process. And I'd like to, in the future, maybe pick up a couple more and see, is this a consistent thing, or did I just draw the short straw here and get a bad one? But it just shows, you know, if I got, as my first case knife, if I got a bad one, that shows that the likelihood of it happening again is probably pretty good. That's my guess anyway. But like I said, I would like to try again to see if maybe I luck out on the next one. And then actually, I'm realizing now, the blade centering is just absolutely horrible on this. Both blades were rubbing the side and are still rubbing the side. And this is before I went and did that stupid thing to the pivot. But the blades are certainly rubbing the liners here. So way off as far as the blade centering goes. So I mean, guys, I think my opinions of this knife were kind of solidified in that this is kind of a collector's item. I think it's more of a novelty than it is a really useful knife. I'm sure you can make it useful. You can put a new edge on it. Like I said, I don't want to be so quick to judge Case just yet. I want to give them some more chances, but so far it's just kind of a bummer to see this, I don't know, to see that this was overlooked in the factory and in their quality control that it was released this way. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Like I said, this was kind of a fun video for me. I did kind of do this for myself because this is something I really wanted to look at, but hopefully y'all enjoyed. And please leave comments. Let me know, have you had the same experience with case knives, or is your experience totally different from mine? And yeah, if you liked the video, please leave a like. And I've got tons of more knife content coming and EDC gear. I'm really excited to bring some videos out. The things that are coming up is pretty exciting. So if you want to see more of my videos, please consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks.